So let's start with a little bit of debate, airing out our grievances, if you will. Go ahead. I'll turn it over to you guys first. Your thoughts on that? I feel weird calling it a debate. It was something that went over the airwaves on television.
Wow. Wow. I just have no words, honestly, Ron. That was a shit show.
I guess we were lucky in a way because we were actually, as Ron said, we're in San Diego. We were down at the border area. So I guess in a way we were lucky because we actually weren't in the hotel in front of the TV watching the debate. We were kind of catching it here and there from the phone. Yeah. So we saw bits and pieces. And then, of course, we saw, the real highlights from last night, the clips. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable that these are our choices.
Yeah, well, we're a failed state. I can't believe if this is the best America has to offer. We are in deep, deep trouble. This was a clown show.
Oh, big time. And it was, I live tweeted it for my own sanity to try to have some fun with it. And it's remarkable because, I mean, first of all, Chris Wallace had no control over the room.
Yeah, right.
And they should have known what, I mean, they picked him on purpose. They were like, let's get somebody very weak who is going to be a laughable moderator. They picked him. Donald Trump was just a lying bully the entire time. But here's an additional problem. Joe Biden, because he's been coddled his entire pathetic career, can't handle a bully. He just can't do it. He can't handle a bully.
No, he can't. I agree. It's like that one midsection where the two of them just were shouting over each other and talking at the same time. You couldn't even understand what it was like. Two guys in the sandbox doing a measuring contest for a certain member of their bodies.
I said it was. It was. I said about that, the analogy I made, it's like a comedy podcast that's still in their first episode.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of comedians talking over each other.
Exactly.
We got to get our rhythm. I'm the star. I do the intro and then I set it up and then you riff on that. You never give me any laughs, bro. I earn them, but you don't give them to me.
Right. It was bad. It was bad. I don't even know what to say.
Well, and it was also scary. We were in Portland. I interviewed some Proud Boys, and I kind of went undercover because there were journalists getting kicked out. There were journalists that they actually were eating. Yeah. So I tried to blend in. I actually had bought an American flag like kimono so that I would really blend in. And
you are committed.
I just played like a ditzy person, like, hey, what do you guys believe and stuff like that. So anyway, I bring that up to say yesterday at the debate when Trump kind of ended up giving that shout out to the Proud Boys, that really amplified things. It really riled them up. They're so excited. So I think, like, in addition to the fact that the debate was just a complete I don't know if we can curse on this show, but just a complete disaster.
You can say whatever you want. You can curse on this show.
It's also scary because now we have these emboldened, dangerous people, these white supremacists, and who are typically armed and who are, very much in the right wing. Now they're even stronger. So it's, real scary.
Well, how can anyone dispute at this point that was anything short of a dog whistle? Stand by. He said stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by.
To white supremacists. He couldn't denounce them. He said stand by. And he got zero pushback. There was no pushback. Biden, at one point, Biden almost made that connection. He called out Trump's racism. He called out that this guy sends dog whistles because somebody prepped him to do that. Somebody coached Biden to do that. But Biden's not intelligent enough, I guess. I don't know what it is. Biden's not intelligent enough that when he does it in real time to call it out. He was not able to do that. Biden wasn't capable of doing that.
Oh, he's not.
Yeah, he's a very missed moment. Very much so.
I agree. Bernie would have nailed that moment.
Yeah.
Bernie would have nailed the whole thing. I mean, Bernie...
100%.
All of the personal attacks that Trump was able to land on Biden, which again, Biden's incredibly corrupt. So it's like Trump is corrupt beyond comprehension. It's probably not a good idea to have his opponent be someone who has enough skeletons in his closet he doesn't need to decorate for Halloween. It didn't work 4 years ago.
I might have to steal that line.
Use it.
Yeah.
It's true, though. You know, Rod, what's interesting about these, and Jen can maybe speak to this too. A lot of these guys, they don't identify as white supremacists, right? They really don't. And you will be stunned at how many members are Hispanic and also African American. So, and these guys, and even Jewish.
Of the Proud Boys, you mean? Just to clarify.
Yeah, the Proud Boys. And some, like, I mean, I'll mention one conversation I had, and then Jen can tell you about some other ones. Like, so there was this one LA Proud Boy that was arrested last year for using bear mace against protesters. It was, I believe, a Bernie rally. Like, I'm not quite sure, but it was some sort of protest. And he literally said to me, and there were Nazis there, right? So he says to me, neo-Nazis aren't Nazis. All the Nazis died out in 1943 or whatever year he said. He's like, there aren't any Nazis now. Neo-Nazis are different. And I'm like, how are neo-Nazis different? He said, it's just different. It's a different ideology. I mean, this is what they tell themselves.
Well, what's different about it? Could he go
into
detail?
Ron, nothing.
Oh, he had nothing.
This is how absurd they are, is the point, right? And
well, how did he dismount that? Were you like, well, how are neo-Nazis and Nazis different? Like, what did he do at that point?
Okay, you'll love the next thing he said to me, because I was like, okay, they're not different. They're precisely the same ideology. How can you make that case? Then he says to me, well, when my family came to the United States, it was Holocaust survivors that sponsored us. And I was like, at that point, I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't even know what to say to you at this point. Like, wow.
So that was he was saying, so this person was a neo-Nazi, and they were saying, we're different.
He isn't, but he was with some neo-Nazis.
He was with some neo-Nazis.
I'll be doing a bigger report on this, so you'll see some of this video. But
okay.
I think it's important that we understand the mind frame that these guys are in. They've kidded themselves more or less to believe, and then the ones that do have like obvious white supremacy ideas, they call themselves now white nationalists or nativists. Mm-hmm. So the idea there is we're not superior. We just want to live in a white country, and all the brown. Yeah. So how do you square that with the fact that a big chunk of your membership, including one of their grand dragons, are black and brown guys? Like, it just doesn't make much sense. But here we are.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of they live in a different reality. I think some of them have convinced themselves that it's not a racist group, because, and they point to the token Latinos or Black people that they have.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really interested in the psychology of these people, because I spoke with one female supporter of the Proud Boys in Portland last Saturday, and
really,
she said some things. She said that the left, like Biden supporters and Black Lives Matter, believe in are trying to build a lesbian separatist society.
Kid you not?
And it went on from there. But I bring her up specifically because she does not believe, or at least she says she does not believe that when the police, are murdering Black people, she doesn't believe that's racist. I even brought up, cases from a long time ago, and she's like, no, none of it's racist. The Breonna Taylor murder, not racist. Like George Floyd, not racist. Yeah. And just a complete different reality. And I don't know. And she even said, I'm a teacher. I teach research and writing at the university level, and I tell people to do their research. But here she is saying that we're going to be a Marxist lesbian separatist society.
A Marxist lesbian.
Has she read Marx ever?
No.
I reject that. Whenever they say stuff like that, it is so ridiculous. I'm just like, look,
so ridiculous.
The only Marx that Joe Biden has probably ever heard of is Groucho. So let's just abandon this fantasy. All that stuff they say. I wish Joe Biden's a radical socialist. I wish that were true.
That would be wonderful.
Like, radical left? Are you kidding me? We wish. He's not. He ignores us. Come on.
When we posted the Lesbian Separatist Society clip on Twitter, everyone was like tweeting it like, sign me up. This sounds great. Good time.
Well, so what were some of the other highlights of the people you spoke to in Portland when you were incognito as Proud Miss America or whatever it was you were doing? What were some of the other, what were just some of the common themes that they had to say? They're saying, okay, we're not racist, except, clearly we are, but, what else what were their big issues?
I think that they really do see themselves as somewhat of a savior of our country. They think that they're there to kind of defend Trump, to defend America, the America that they want it to be and believe it once was or whatever. They truly think of themselves as saviors, and they truly think, they have very weird initiation rituals and things like that. And there's
pretty violent.
Like 4 different steps, and so they really vet people to become a Proud Boy. And part of it, by the way, includes you're not allowed to masturbate because
that's another one.
I can't remember their reason. Like they say it like gets rid of your virility.
Your virility as a male. You're not allowed to. Yeah.
It's very weird. So
it's very weird.
I say that to point out that they really do take themselves seriously.
Oh yeah.
Well, wait, can you go into details on some of the steps? I mean, what are like, you can't come, that's one step. What are the other ones?
You can't come. I took a picture of it. Oh, but it's been ages ago. So it's like you get
There's like different levels.
There's different levels.
There some, I can't remember if it's the 4th one. One of them involves beating somebody up.
Yeah, you have to be beaten and get beat. You have to beat someone up and like get beaten. I really wish.
An interesting thing to mention too, Ron, as she's looking for that, is some of these folks are also 3%ers. They're threepers, right? I don't know if folks are familiar with the 3%.
I'm not. What does that mean?
This is a conversation we need to have because they're a group that I'm actually far more concerned about than the others. So the 3%ers are they're right-wing militia, right?
Okay.
But they're different from the Boogaloo Boys in the sense that the Boogaloo guys are really, they stay true to their mission. They're not experiencing a lot of incohesive weirdness. So when they say, I agree with Antifa or BLM, it's because these guys are being hammered by a police state and we're fighting a police state. So we have a common enemy, right? That's what the Boogaloos think. So a lot of those guys are actually fine with Antifa and BLM. The 3%, however, are more of an extension from what I'm seeing of just being pro-Trump, right? So if you are been given the go-ahead, the standby go-ahead, if you're a Proud Boy, you're also a 3%er. This is very dangerous. And I've also uncovered a bunch of accounts, Ron, that are police and law enforcement that are also 3%. So I think it's something we should be concerned about. And actually, I want to say last year sometime, I can't remember the exact time, but I found out that there was a potential mosque bombing that was thwarted by the FBI, but it was a 3%er. The guy identified as a 3%er. So this is a group that's not getting a lot of attention right now in the media, and I think we need to start paying attention.
Well,
let's
back up a little bit. You're saying you found evidence of that in law enforcement.
Correct.
So what specifically did you find?
At least 25 police officers that are also members of the 3%. So they have a certain logo that they wear. Like I found a sheriff that had a 3% logo on his vest, on his Kevlar vest.
What does it look like?
So it looks like it's a laurel of stars, and it has the 3 Roman numerals on the inside. So the idea that what the origination is that the original 3% in the country were the ones that took up arms against Great Britain. And so again, these folks see themselves as patriots, but what bothers me, what disturbs me, is it requires a bit of a cognitive dissonance to really buy into that, and to also say at the same time, I'm fine with the police state. I am part of the police state. So they're almost like they embrace fascism as they're saying we are standing up for the First and the Fourth Amendments. You know what I'm saying?
Well, who do they think they're fighting at this point? I mean, we're not
Antifa and BLM.
Okay, so they think that Antifa and BLM, organizations that are fighting against fascism and are marginalized themselves, they equate that with when Britain ruled over the United States.
Yeah, I did see it made sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and in fact, I found one posting. I have a fake. So I don't know if I should be saying this out. I have a fake Nazi account on Telegram, so I've been able to get into some of these rooms and see what they're posting in there.
Wait. Wait, Telegram?
Yeah, Telegram. Are you familiar with Telegram?
No, and now, all right. So I'm having a
I'm going to
Luddite
send you
moment.
down a giant everybody that's watching this is going to go down a giant rabbit hole. Okay, so Telegram is where they're all now. It's a social media platform, and they don't ban or censor anything. So everybody that's been kicked off of Facebook and kicked off of Twitter, they're now on Telegram, and because it's not censored, they let loose, Ron. Like the stuff they say is just vile, like incredibly racist stuff. So it lets their full blown Nazi freak flag fly. Like, so the stuff you see in there is pretty disturbing. But I found this one video, and turns out the guy that was saying it was also a Peckerwood, which is part of the the gangs that are inside the prison system here in LA, but they also have a loose affiliation with the Nazi lowriders. But he was talking about how the Boogaloo Boys were shit and not to talk to them, that they're garbage because they're okay with Antifa and BLM and they couldn't have any sort of attachment with them. You know, and this guy's also a 3%er. So the 3%ers is this sort of right-wing militia, but it overlaps into a lot of these other segments, a lot of these other groups. So these folks are self-identifying as being both a member of both organizations. Well, not even organizations, movements, I should say.
Yeah,
movements is more precise.
Yeah, some of them are.
Well, some of them are, yeah, because they have local militia. So there was a local a militia that was in Charlottesville, for example. So they do form local militias as well as being part of the larger movement.
Doesn't it just help you sleep better at night knowing that that's the commonality they all have? Like, well, it's like the one thing they all have in common. Yeah, they're all armed to the gills. They all have tons of guns that they're excited to use. That's the one thing they all have in common. That's their common love, guns that they hopefully that they want to use.
And white supremacy.
Yeah. So
I found the Proud. So going back to the Proud Boys, here's the 4 steps. So you
wait. Let me guess them first. Them first.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So all I know so far is that one of the first steps is you can't come. You're not allowed to come. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that they actually keep it all based on physical restraint. So I'm gonna say step 1, you can't come. Step 2, you can't take a leak. Step 3, no shitting. And step 4, if you sweat, you're out. You got to figure out a way not to do that.
Yeah.
So let me know how close am I?
No bodily fluids allowed. Nobody. Yeah. Okay. So pretty close. So let's add some. So the first thing you have to do is publicly declare yourself a Proud Boy. So easy enough. But then you need to, this is so childish and ridiculous. So you get beat up by other members until you can name 5 kinds of breakfast cereal. Like they just beat the shit out of you until you have gone through 5 breakfast cereals.
Well, how specific does it have to be? A specific brand? Like can it be cornflakes, or do you have to say Kellogg's cornflakes, or how many varieties of Captain Crunch can you say and it counts? Like can you say Crunch Berry, regular Captain Crunch, peanut butter Captain Crunch? Does that all count? Or like, no, that's just one?
I don't know. They're all giant children, obviously.
Yeah, I bet it's up to the person who's doing the vetting or whatever. Like,
I mean, you can say, if you plan in advance, you can say that pretty fast.
Right?
Like it might just be like one punch, and then you shout out 5 breakfast cereals.
Like, how is this wrong? You need to make a parody of this stuff. Really, you do. Can you do a parody video on this? Because I'm
insane.
It's so funny.
Okay, so that's the second degree.
All right, so that's second step.
That also includes the vow to stop masturbating. And I should say, they call themselves Western chauvinists, and they truly believe like women belong in the kitchen at home sort of deal. So I guess like they say that the vow to stop masturbating is so that you are, there for your wife or your woman. And I'm developing a different theory in my head right now, and part of this is I remember what it's like to be a 13-year-old boy, and I feel like they're just basing this entire thing off of the life of a 13-year-old boy. Like, all right, well, what did we do when we were 13-year-old boys? Well, we would eat breakfast cereal, then we would go jerk off. All right, we can make some rules out of this. Yeah,
that makes a lot
of sense. I think you're onto something here.
You're onto something.
Developmentally, they're
stuck at 13 or something.
Okay, so the 3rd degree is getting a Proud Boy tattoo. The 4th degree is engaging in physical violence with members of Antifa. So there you go. You gotta beat up some anti-fascists, I guess.
And those are the 4 steps.
Yep, those are the 4 steps.
All right. Well, I was close, but I was a little off.
I did find some more specifics about the breakfast cereal thing.
Okay.
So Gavin McInnes, for people who don't know, he was one of the founders of Vice, but he left Vice long ago. Then he founded the Proud Boys. He's no longer associated with Proud Boys, but back then, back in 2016, he said, "You must get the crap beaten out of you by at least 5 guys until you can name 5 breakfast cereals. If you hammer out Chex, Cheerios, Rice Krispies, Corn Flakes, and Special K in a matter of seconds, you're free to go. If you get flummoxed by the punches and cannot think straight, well, sorry, you're going to get pounded. There you go.
All right. So they give you the 5 cereals in advance. So really, it's just it's not a test on creativity. It's just a test on your memory skills. You got to shout out the 5 approved cereals, which I can't help notice. All of those cereals are actually very white in color, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like they're all like all those cereals are very white.
Yeah.
Like they didn't say, yeah, okay, interesting, I guess.
Yeah. So quite a group, and it's fun to point out how stupid that really is. It's just so stupid and so childish. But these people are a real danger, and the fact that Donald Trump gave them such a shout out. And has emboldened them so much really sends chills down my spine.
Sure.
It's horrible. I can't even imagine these people. I spoke with the head of
Enrique.
Enrique.
Wait, hang on. She's so good. She got his phone number.
The head of the Proud Boys.
I am
well,
not
wait. All right. Well, okay. So Jen, we gotta sidetrack there. We gotta get this story. So wait, were you dressed in the Miss America costume thing?
Yeah,
when you did
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you're wearing your flag suit and you go up to him. All right. So what happens next?
So I was walking around in my flag gear, and actually there's kind of like an initiation of sorts that I had to pass because they were very, very suspicious of journalists. So they came up before I was able to start interviewing anyone. People came up and asked me a bunch of questions and all that. I told them my name was Elizabeth. And
Special K.
I really did. I really did. I played a ditz, oh, hey guys, So
did you have like your microphone and stuff? Like, did you have like
so I had my cameraman with me. No, we had no status quo logos anywhere. And when they asked me, they were like, I was like, oh, I've always wanted to be a journalist. So can I ask you some questions? Like, I'm just getting started. So yeah, I totally just played it as if it was just for my own like edification or whatever, just ask them questions. So I went around, interviewed several of them. And I guess by that point, I was trusted enough that when Enrique came around, I asked him some questions. He had to go to the next location. So I wanted to know what the next location was, and no one would tell me. So I went up. He was sitting in the back of a truck, and after our interview, and so I went up to him and I was like, Enrique, can you tell me, where you guys are going? I'd really love to come. I'd love to cover it. So he told me the next location. And then he's like, oh, I'll give you my phone number too, so that you can find out, like what we're doing and stuff. He's like, we're just going to go shower now, but then we're going to do a barbecue. And he was real.
When I see a gal dressed as an American flag that's interested in my group, I give my phone number out.
Exactly. That's how it works.
Oh shit. That's hilarious.
So good time.
So did you go to the barbecue?
No, so we went to the next location, which was like a mall, a local mall. And I do have to say, because the mall location definitely was not well attended. They were just gathering there before they were going back to their hotel rooms and stuff. But the event overall was nowhere near as well attended as they thought it would be. So I found that interesting. It was supposed to be over 800 people. They thought maybe several thousand. I think it was probably under 500.
Did they blame TikTok? Were they like just like our leader Trump?
Blaming the Zoomers. No, they pretended like it was a huge success, and that's one thing Enrique told me when I asked him. I said, what did you guys meet your goals? Like, what were your goals? And he said, absolutely, because the way that they deploy Portland. So Portland had banned tear gas against the protesters. But the way that they designated it an emergency, a declaration of emergency or whatever in Portland for that weekend for the Proud Boys event, they were able to give federal powers to local police so that they could circumvent the tear gas ban. So Enrique was like, yeah, that was one of our goals. Now they can use CS gas on those protesters. And he said, he literally said mission accomplished. And he said, if Portland doesn't get their act together, we'll be back.
That pisses me off so bad, what you just said.
Yeah.
That pisses me off so bad. and here you see, I mean, this is literally, I mean, maybe not completely blunt like A to B, but cooperation between Proud Boys and the police, and white supremacists and police.
I should also mention we have found some Proud Boy members that are in the sheriff's department in Riverside and Orange County, and an LAPD officer. So there is definitely a crossover between these two groups. And I think it should also be mentioned the Proud Boys have used mace, bear mace, and pepper spray themselves at protests. They often bring that stuff and use it on Antifa or BLM activists. So,
well, and on the point with police kind of being accepting of the Proud Boys, they definitely are. When the Proud Boy convoy was going to its Delta Park in Portland, where their event was being held, police officers were giving a journalist, I didn't see this myself, but was giving like the peace sign to Proud Boys as the caravan was going by. So these police officers are often very much in line with the Proud Boys and similar groups.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron.